Netti's chronovisor was more of an apparatus that enabled him to see back and hear back through time. He was looking something like a TV screen, something like earphones, but very complex, like a little bath escape.
This was a machine, though, that used an antenna in receiving light and sound that exist always, that once produced are always essentially there, and you can somehow tune into them, and that would include, I guess, anything from the present until the most distant past.
That seems to be what Ernetti claimed, yeah. You know, we used to talk a lot in about the Akashic records and so forth, and today a lot of his talking about how it's rather quite possible, maybe even probable, that all sounds, all sound waves, all light waves, you know, kind of produced by us as we live, they are absorbed into the environment around us, and they're there.
Did you know that the moon reflects all the continents of the earth? The moon also reveals lands beyond the icy walls that surround the earth. This is biblical. The truth always appears as an answer to those who seek it.
You've probably heard about the mud flood theory, but have you ever seen how such a thing could have actually been accomplished? This footage is from the 1922 World's Fair in Brazil. It was called the Independence Centenary International Exposition, and it took place in the city of Rio de Janeiro. They're using a tactic known as hydraulic mining or sluicing, in which high-pressure water jets are used to move soil and rocks. The resulting water sediment slurry of mud can then be directed through sluice boxes and channeled elsewhere. Hydraulic mining originally developed from ancient Roman techniques that used water to excavate soft underground deposits. The more modern form using high-pressure nozzles officially came about in the 1850s during the California Gold Rush era. Isn't it interesting that this tactic appeared during the same time frame that we see the World's Fairs occurring, which is also the theorized time frame of the mud flood? And then we see this very technique being used at a World's Fair event. Something like this could be implemented by a relatively small number of people to either bury or uncover entire towns. Is this related to why we see so many half-buried buildings all over the world? Remember, the winners write history, and it looks like the World's Fairs are the plot hole in their story.
Just look at these plans from Tesla. Wireless free energy transmitting devices using airships and Tesla towers. Now look at those Tesla towers. I believe they were already part of an old world technology Tesla rediscovered. Once the world elites got wind of what Tesla was planning to do, giving free energy to all, they quickly shut it down. Just look at his Tesla towers and look at the mooring stations of airships. The infrastructure was already there, and it's been there for quite some time. And that's the great thing about these mooring stations. They could be built anywhere and used in small fashion to large fashion. Just think of all those water towers and other odd castle-like towers from the old world. Can even have mooring stations on ships, transferring electricity or receiving electricity. And like I said, this technology has already been in use before. Flying craft of the old world like Vimana, depicted for thousands of years. And look at some of these towers they call observation towers, like in New Brighton. Very similar to both mooring stations and Tesla towers. Truly nothing new under the sun. Question everything, friends.
Gravity is no reason for levity. And even if it is, William Skinner of Miami still believes in his invention, which he calls a gravity power machine. Some engineers say that William's claims are fantastic, but that doesn't stop William from demonstrating on a model what he says should be as clear as mud. He takes a thin cotton thread and drives the machine from a 1/8 horsepower motor. Shafts fitted with weights turn on an off-center axis and the weights go round and around. That simple action, says our William, sets up enough energy to multiply the existing power by 1200%. On that basis, the machine driving a generator could produce power for a township of 3,500 at a cost of £1 a month. He runs a 12-foot lathe with his gravity machine, and with only an 1/8 horsepower peels off steel ribbons 1/4 of an inch wide. But still the engineers are skeptical.
Yo, what is this, bro? What is this? Yo! Yo, that's like a... What is that, bro?
先我们需要用到磁铁，把它像这样放在沙滩里。现在我们还需要6个方位把它布满磁铁。打开我们准备好的特斯拉线圈，叫一台发电机，我们启动它。最后一步，打开控制器。接下来我们开始飞翔。
Searching for a place called home. I know that I've been called aside. Ignore the dreams too many lies. Somewhere deep inside, somewhere deep inside me, I found the child I used to be. And I know that it's not too late, never too late.
The force of inertia is known in mechanics, but until only recently, it had been considered too weak and difficult to harness for propulsion. According to some theorists, like Hal Puthoff, inertia, like gravity, is what occurs when we try to accelerate an object against the zero-point fluctuations in the vacuum. We run into resistance, literally. Canadian inventor Roy Thornton has developed an inertial impulse propulsion engine which overcomes that resistance using centrifugal force. It pushes against nothing and emits no exhaust, but it's been calculated to be 20 times more efficient than a jet engine. Here, the Thornton inertial propulsion drive powers a canoe in a swimming pool. The motor, which is housed in a box, never contacts the water or air. In the pendulum test, unidirectional force is being generated to keep the pendulum to one side.
Whether or not we can demonstrate, as I have, with engineering analysis and models that will climb an incline, will pass a pendulum test, in other words, stay on one side of the pendulum consistently, and even power a canoe in a swimming pool, commercialization of that device is still a very difficult road. And we see that in many inventions, but what I like to emphasize is my F over P measurement of that is literally 20 times better than the jet engine. A jet engine, typically a commercial jet engine, the DC-9, I think is the one that I analyzed, has about 0.016 newtons per watt. And this is in the metric system. Now, when we look at the Thornton, he's able to achieve 0.32 newtons per watt, literally 20 times better than the jet engine.
Roy Thornton is developing refinements to his system to increase its performance. Unfortunately, like many inventors, even with a U.S. patent in hand, he has yet to find sufficient investment capital to bring his motor to the marketplace.
Propulsion source does in fact exist.
Nikola Tesla was a time traveler. What I'm about to reveal will change your vision of this great inventor. Apparently, Tesla was very obsessed with time travel. He worked on a time machine project. It's very probable that he succeeded because once he said, "I could see the past, the present, and the future at the same time." Tesla's assistant explains the existence of Tesla's work on time travel and the fact that he may have partially realized it. Tesla was exposed to magnetic waves that he had artificially produced, during which he found himself in a completely different space-time window, where he could see both the past, the future, and the present at the same time. The magnetic effect he was exposed to nearly killed him. After Tesla's death, the notes, which were curious by everyone, were collected by the FBI overnight and disappeared. His many revolutionary inventions were destroyed by these persons to keep them in control of the energy. For this reason, unfortunately, there is no document to confirm exactly what is stated in this article. The situations mentioned are the expressions experienced and voiced by those living near him. Tesla is one of the greatest scientists in our history, and with his death, he left many mysteries behind. Do you think Tesla was a time traveler?
Here's a fun one to look into, the Manual of Free Energy Devices and Systems, Volume 2 by D.A. Kelly. Shows all these different devices utilizing free energy, static fields, even Victor Schauberger's flying saucer. You know the whole UFO thing? Victor Schauberger. And then you got stuff with Tesla in here, just absolutely remarkable information. These are Tesla's patents, connecting into a ground and a circuit using an antenna to harness the static fields. Goes a little bit more into here, the Hubbard coil, very interesting one. And then this is a real one, Nikola Tesla coils, very cool stuff. Primary coils. I mean, this book is just filled with stuff. This is how you originally made a solar panel back in the day. Now they use esoteric practices. Goes into more on here. Got all different types of diagrams and designs, but just so much information.
It's called Tomorrow's Energy Need Not Be Fuel. And in that book, he gave reference to what I'm talking about, that that of levitation, that the bumblebee, when he starts to beat his wings, when he starts to flap his wings, there's a little cavity, a hollow cavity next to the larynx inside his system that's hollow. And when he beats his wings, he starts to resonate this energy, and it goes back and forth, just similar to a guitar strumming on one side of the room and hitting the same chord on the other side of the room, or somebody hitting a high C and breaking a crystal. It's the same thing. It's resonance. And he said what they do, they resonate. And when they resonate, they eventually reach the resonance of the field around them. And he explained it this way to me, that the Earth was, of course, spinning, but it was operating on a frequency of 8.5 hertz per second or so forth. And he says once this bumblebee hits that resonant frequency of its surroundings, it becomes a free agent. It creates a magnetic bubble around itself, and it can go anywhere it wants. And I said, well, that's not in any of the science books. He said, I know. You probably never see it there either, but that's what happens. They'll discover it someday and bring it out, but it's just we have a conventional way of doing things, and then we have a natural way of doing things, and they're totally different. They're diametrically opposed.
The important point here is the bees. As you've heard, the bumblebee shouldn't really be able to fly. Those wings are way too small to lift that chubby little body off the ground. In fact, it's a bit of a conundrum also for the mainstream scientists. They can travel in perfectly straight lines for long distances without any deviation, even during a howling crosswind. Because of the resonant frequencies produced by the vibration of their wings, they create a bubble in the ether, protecting them from any outside interference. So levitation by sound waves is a real-world effect. Do you want more proof?
That the bug wings themselves were creating an anti-gravity phenomena under certain conditions.
These technologies are known and used in modern-day aircraft manufacture. The vortexes being produced are helping the lift properties of the aircraft. This is why the engines are forward of the wings. If they were underneath the wings, then the vortex wouldn't do its job. It has to flow over and not under the wing. Next time you fly, try to listen to the hum of the engines. It changes pitch when going into and out of cruise mode. Just pure speculation here, but there are large cavities in the wings, which are tested with compressed air and not liquids, by the way, and the engines produce a distinct hum, just like the bees do. forces at work here. As always, this is just my own musings, and they are by no means definitive, but the scientific evidence and the observable effects definitely backs up the theory. Two highly intelligent gentlemen that have had their research largely ignored by the mainstream scientific community, but the manufacturers are covertly using the technology to fly their planes. As per usual, it's us, the consumer, who's losing out, while these huge companies are reaping the financial benefits.
Fade like a shadow that moves into the night. Disappear into darkness far away. Fade like a shadow, darker than the evening sky. Run into the night, a hidden black light.
подъезжает, друзья, военный транспортный самолет с экипажем. Возможно, пилоты все внутри погибли.
Under this pouring rain, and I'm falling, and I feel like I'm your God, and I'm calling, and I'm ready for this start. I know what you're thinking, you're so afraid of sinking, and I am too of coming apart. But I am still your treasure, forever endless pleasure. And how can it be that fine? I can't escape this place where I have seen your face. I can't escape this now while walking around this town. It's my trouble. Do you understand? I don't want this. Where dare you to while walking around this town. It's my trouble. Do you understand?